What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. In this one today, I'm gonna be sharing some insight on how I use my 5-inch FPV drone to make money. If you're new here or you like what you're watching, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. We do a lot of fun FPV stuff. And if you have anything to say, make sure you drop it in the comments below as well. If you didn't know, I do photography and videography outside of FPV, more so in the real estate realm of things, and I actually use my FPV drone to capture cool perspectives of the properties that I film for realtors. To give you guys a little bit of context as to why I'm making this video today, I was on a podcast with Ani, Gary, and My On High, and I mentioned how I did not like the residential FPV fly-throughs because I thought they looked amateur. The reason being, your camera needs to be left on auto, and as you fly through a house, the camera settings change, and personally, I just don't like the way it looks. I would much rather use my camera and a gimbal, get the interior shots I need, and use FPV on the exterior. And I know when most people think of FPV and real estate, they think of the cine whoops, flying through homes, doing a one-take kind of thing. And although that's really cool, it's really niche, and your realtor might love it, I personally do not like it. So I'm basically just sharing with you guys how I prefer to use FPV in real estate and how I enjoy to use FPV in real estate. Please keep in mind that everything everybody does nowadays is personal preference and subjective. What I like is what I like, what you like is what you like, and that is totally okay. I'm not trying to hate on anybody doing the one-shot fly-throughs. If you like it, you do you, but most importantly, if your client likes it, please them, do what they want. And if someone asked me to do a fly-through, I would do it. However, it's not my preference. Just thought I'd put that out there. Now that I got that out of the way, we're gonna start with showing you guys the final product of what I actually delivered to the client. So I'll show you guys that right now. So by looking at that intro, you probably realized that I was actually using 2 drones to capture the footage for the intro. I used a 2019 Mavic Pro Platinum for the static shots to kind of give the viewers a more general idea of where the house was located. It wasn't as fast, it kind of just hovered there and showed the area a little bit better. I then used the FPV drone to give the viewer a better up-close perspective of the land in a more timely fashion. And honestly, it's just a stylistic choice. I think this looks a lot cooler than just a standard gimbal pan shot, and it might keep the viewer more engaged and watching for longer. So that's why I chose to use it, and the land was just honestly super cool, so it just added some pizzazz to the video itself. On the FPV drone, I do have a GoPro mount, and I use a GoPro Hero 8. It's actually pretty dinged up, and it still records just fine. So I love it for what it is. I use Real Steady instead of the onboard stabilization. I find that Real Steady just does a better job, and I just prefer the look of Real Steady over what this can do internally. On top of the GoPro Hero 8, I actually use Camera Butter ND filters. And if you're new to videography and you're like, what's an ND filter? Essentially, it's sunglasses for your camera. When you choose camera settings to get a specific look, your shot can be really bright. So you use these ND filters to bring down your settings so that you can get the stylistic choice that you want with the settings that you need, and you don't have a blown out shot. That's essentially long story short. For the GoPro Hero 8, I recorded in 2.7K 4:3, so it can be stabilized by Real Steady. I then shot in 60 frames a second using 120 shutter speed. So if you're curious as to why I used the shutter and that frame rate, essentially whatever frame rate you choose, you need to double it for your shutter speed. So it doesn't look so choppy, so stuttery, whatever the case may be. It just looks more natural to the eye if you use the double your frame rate method for the shutter speed. If you're using 30 frames per second with 60 shutter, you're gonna get more of a natural motion blur. And if you use a higher shutter speed and a higher frame rate, it's gonna look a little bit more faster paced because the shutter is faster, and it might look stuttery depending on how fast you go. It was a weird overcast, cloudy day, so I had to just pick a setting and go with it. Otherwise, I mean, I probably would have opted for the 30 frames and 60 shutter just to get the natural blur, but it didn't look horrible with 60, and I was actually kind of happy with how it turned out. So it kind of just depends on the lighting scenario. I'll often choose the GoPro settings and put an ND over top just to see what'll bring the exposure down and make it look the best while I'm on site. And I kind of just wing it. Like, I never really use technical anything when choosing the ND, but I'll use technical settings when choosing my frame rate and shutter. Hopefully that made sense. These are settings though that I will set myself. I will not leave my shutter on auto. I will not leave my ISO on auto. Everything on the GoPro will be manually set so that I have full control over what the camera is doing. And that's why I like doing exterior better than interior with auto settings. On the point of camera settings and why I used what, if you guys are confused, I do have a Patreon. If you're really interested in learning more about camera settings, how to edit, any of that, feel free to subscribe and ask me any and all the questions you have. I would make sure to answer all of those on Patreon, but it is really technical and I did take the time to learn this all myself. So if you want to pick my brain about that, I'll leave a link to my Patreon below and you guys can ask me any and all questions you have over there. I think that's all I can give you information-wise on the camera settings that I used. And so I will just show you the long uncut FPV clip now. So I'll go back up around the house.
Yeah.
And then come back. Oh. Are they? Get over to the other side. Just to piss them off, I'll go right by their little house.
Fight, fight.
I think there's people over here in the bush. Oh, I see one. They're coming after me. They're pissed.
Yeah, you got like a dozen up here. There's more coming from other colonies.
That's hilarious. They're like, intruder.
Yep. I know you chased them all that.
Oh my god. You gotta see that. I gotta bring it back. Holy crap.
Like a long one?
Yeah. I turned around and I probably almost clocked it. Ah. They like actually just hate me. Are they coming closer with those jet ski things? Or are they going further away? Oh, there's a guy right here. Up high and down low.
Oh, no, Michelle. I'm just hiding from the drone. We're just doing some photography out here. Yeah. We're not shooting you. We're just educating the birds. I know. They're not liking it. Yeah. It started to go past that.
Oh my. You guys want to play now? When it comes down to the clips that I actually chose from the big long FPV clip, it comes down to what the realtor was told by the homeowner. And when flying the line that we did, we kept that in mind the whole time. So the homeowner really wanted to highlight the sandy beach area. They also wanted to highlight the marina, as well as to the right where there was no docks or anything. They wanted just to highlight that area over there. And with the FPV drone, you can kind of swoop in and get a better look at it. And to the viewer, hopefully that just looks cool and they can just get a better idea of really what it looks like out there. But when flying your lines, it's your personal preference on how you fly. It's what the realtor was told by the homeowner. And then when it comes to chopping it up, it's just stylistic and making it look pretty. So a lot of it is subjective in your editing and all of that to make it look good and how you prefer to make it look. But I hope that made sense. That is the video. If you guys enjoyed it or you learned something from it, make sure you drop a like and you comment below, and most importantly, you subscribe. Again, I would love to have you guys here. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Adios.